Hello, I'm DeDe. In this 30-minute yoga session, we'll focus on the Warrior Pose series. That's Warrior 1, 2, and 3. Performing the Warrior Pose series helps our whole body become not only stronger and more flexible, but it also helps us develop better balance and better stability. We'll also do some deeper stretches toward the end to gain greater flexibility and mobility. Now here's what you'll need. A yoga mat if you have access to one. If you're on a hard floor, it's definitely a good idea to have one. Turn it the same way that I have mine. You'll also need some water for hydration and a small towel, and you probably won't need your shoes and socks. You'll definitely need room around you to move your arms and legs freely. And remember to always move at your own perfect mindful pace. And that means resting when you need to and skipping something if it doesn't feel right. I'm going to give lots of modifications, so hopefully those will fit you just fine. So let's begin now. We're coming down and lying on our back. Now, if you need a pillow under your head, fold your towel up and put that under your head. If you don't need that, then just keep your towel to the side for now. We're coming down first on our elbows, and then we're coming all the way down onto our back. Just for a moment, bring your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. The beginning of our practice sets us up to have the best possible practice. So that's why at the beginning, we spend a bit of time centering, grounding ourselves, becoming more mindful, and breathing more deeply. So let's do that now with our knees bent. So set your foot down, set your other foot down, turn your toes inward, and adjust your stance so your knees can lean comfortably against one another. You still have the natural curve in your low back, your shoulders are away from your ears. And let's take the hands around the rib cage. So opposite hand on opposite side of your rib cage. Your head is in the center, closing your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. And now we start to breathe in and out through the nose. We have our hands around our rib cage so we can feel the massive expansion and contraction of our ribs during the breathing cycles. And that gives us a whole lot to pay attention to keep our mind quiet. So pay attention to the sound of the music, the sound of these words, the sound and the sensation of your breath. Try to create more expansion through your ribs if possible. All right, and then we open the eyes if they're closed. Take your arms down to your sides. Separate your knees and walk your feet in so they're a little closer together. Now bring your knees back into your chest and we'll alternate straightening one leg at a time up. So straight, but as straight as you can. Push up through your heel and feel the stretch in the back of your leg. Inhale, and as you exhale, press through your heel. So because we're flexing the foot, you should be experiencing a little bit of tension across the top of your foot, through the front of your ankle, and maybe into your shin a little bit. All right, one more on each leg. And then we'll bring the knees into the chest. Hold on to the backs of your thighs and circle your ankles around in one direction. That feels good after all that flexing of our feet. And then go the other way. And then we'll straighten one leg out. Let's make it our left leg and pull the right knee in. And then both legs come forward. Inhale, control through a strong middle. And then exhale, pull your left knee in. Let's add some arms. Arms are up, legs are straightening out, and then leg comes in. We'll keep on going with this. Maybe your arms can go a little bit further. So notice that the palms are facing inward. Do you have enough room to move your arms and legs? Make yourself some space. We don't want to be inhibited by obstacles, if possible. Last one. Now let's bring both knees back into our chest, holding on to the backs of the thighs, and then once again, ankle circles. And reverse. We're going to be using our feet and our lower legs quite a bit, so we're preparing them as much as we can. Now bring your feet down. Let's turn over onto our side, and we'll come to a hands and knees position. For that, you may need to have padding underneath your knees. So this is a great opportunity for us to use our small towel. Put it right about at the halfway point on your mat, and then bring your knees onto it. Now we'll be up on our fists, and then we'll circle one wrist around. And then we'll switch to the other fist, and then the other wrist is circling. Meanwhile, you have a neutral straight spine, including your head and your neck. All right, so we'll come to our fists and knees position, or if you're comfortable doing it, palms and knees. Push the ground away, pull the shoulders away from your ears. Let's inhale, and on the exhale, one arm reaches forward with the thumb up. As you inhale, switch sides, exhale, and reach. So we're constantly pushing the ground away with our hand and our knees, pushing it away. That means we're not collapsing. We're not letting gravity pull us down. Now both hands stay down, whether it's palms or fists, that's totally up to you. Now legs, inhale. Press your right heel back, straightening out your leg as you exhale, and then we'll switch. Holding yourself nice and steady as you move your leg, and keeping the hips as level as you can. Now let's add an arm. So we have right leg, left arm, and then of course left leg, right arm. Are you still pushing the floor away? Make sure. So this is a wonderful back and shoulder, hip strengthener, because if you're pushing the floor away and you're not collapsing, you're building more stability and strength in those key areas. Now let's hold this one, whichever side you're on, it doesn't matter. Stay here. Make sure you're doing opposite arm and leg. Otherwise, it's very, very, very challenging. Keep breathing. Let's switch sides now. Opposite arm and leg, reach out, hold here, stay steady. A little bit of balance involved here as well. And then let's come down and we'll go into a child's pose of your choice. So one of the easier ways to do it is move your knees further apart, stay forward with your shoulders, rest your forehead like this. But if you can get a little further back and further down, then you'll do that. All right, let's come back up. Come back to hands and knees, or fists and knees, and then do this. Take your hands further forward. Now for this, you might want to be on your palms. Let's inhale, and then you'll pick up your right arm, and on the exhale, bend forward and reach your right arm through. So we're threading the needle in that direction, and then inhale, come back up to the center, and let's exhale, reach through with the opposite arm. Let's keep going with this. Inhale to the center and exhale as you twist. Keep going. Do you have enough padding underneath your knees? If you don't, you might want to get a second towel or fold your towel up so it's a little thicker. All right, let's come back to the center now, and we'll leave the arms forward and we'll sit back as far as we can for extended child's pose. Make sure your hands are forward, and then inhale, come forward with your shoulders, stretch out. This is the kneeling version of plank. Exhale, come back. Now this time as we come forward, tuck the toes under when you get here, and then untuck the toes as you sit back. Let's do that again. Exhale. Again. One straight line from your knees through the crown of your head. All right, now this time we're moving into the full plank. So we tuck the toes and we lift the knees this time. And then we move into downward facing dog. Let's alternate the heels, pressing one heel at a time downward. All right, both of our heels press down evenly. Now we step the right foot forward. So take a step and then take your right hand behind your right heel and step the rest of the way up. Now we drop the left knee down on our extra padding. And then we lift up the chest, roll the shoulders back, inhale, and then exhale. Let's do that again with more bend in our elbows this time. Inhale. And exhale. How about two more? A little bit bigger. You can look up if it doesn't take you out of balance. And one more. All right, and then we return to downward facing dog. So palms down, back knee lifted, hips up, stepping back, sinking the heels downward. And then we'll step the left foot forward. So again, take that partial step and then take the second step if that's a good way for you to do it. And then we'll inhale, open the arms out to the sides this time. And exhale, bring them down. Do it again, maybe a little bit higher. Lifting your chest up. Even if you're not looking up, you can still lift your chest. And again. All right, and then we'll take the hands down, lift up the back knee, step back into downward facing dog. Sink your heels downward. right, now you're going to turn toward me. So I want you to take your foot that's furthest from me and step it forward and then walk around so you're facing toward me. Turn your toes out. Now we're going to get rid of our folded mat because folded towel because we don't need it. Your toes are turned out, your knees are bent. Now you take your hands up onto your legs and slowly bring yourself up. Straighten your legs out. Inhale, draw the arms back. Exhale, bend your knees and hip hinge forward. And then do that again. Straighter knees. And then exhale, much more bent knees. Your spine is straight though. All right, and then we'll stay down here. Both knees are bent. Inhale, the arms come out. Exhale, over to the side. And then switch. Shoulders are down. Keep pushing your knees out. All right, now we come back to center. Rise up. Turn this foot in. This foot turns out. And we'll bend the front knee. Now we have to turn the center of our chest to face that front foot. So straighten out your back knee. Bend your front knee. Let's take the hands in front of the heart. And then we'll turn the hands and the chest straight on. Straight on this direction. Shoulders down. See if you can move more weight to the outer edge of your back foot and see how that affects your entire leg. This is warrior one. So in a warrior pose, we should feel challenged. Like right now, the legs should feel somewhat challenged. Maybe your torso feels a little challenged too because we're so upright here. Now release. Let's reverse it. Turn this foot in, this foot turns out. Do your best to keep your balance while we're making those transitions. Bend your front knee, turn, hands in front of the heart, press your back heel away from you and sink down. So we want to sink down as low as we can. So you do your best with sinking down. Shoulders down, lift the chest up. Do you feel the tremendous amount of stretch in the front of this hip? How about the work that's happening in this bent leg? Do you feel the muscles of your torso and core gripping, pulling, supporting? Try to get as much of that going as you can within reason so you feel like a warrior. And then release that. Let's make the transition back to this side now. Turn this foot in. This foot turns out. Now this time we're going to remain facing one another. So level out your pelvis from front to back as well as from right to left. And then see if you can sink into this knee a little bit more. Take your thumbs up, take your arms out, hold it here. Now you can look toward your thumb on this arm, or you can keep looking toward me, or somewhere in between. Keep pushing the weight to the outer edge of both of your feet. That will help you with your leg activation and alignment. This is warrior two. Now let's take our back hand to our hip. Keep your front knee over your ankle and let's lean into a side bend here. You can keep looking at me. You can look upward or you can look downward. What feels best for you? Breathing, staying steady, feeling the warrior challenge in your legs, torso, and shoulder. Now come up. Let's make the transition to the other direction. Turn in, turn out, pelvis level, sink in, knee, moving the weight to the outer edges of the feet, and then arms. Warrior two. So if you feel like this is pretty easy and you're just kind of hanging out here, see if you can make it more warrior-like, more intense, in other words. Keep it sensible, but make it warrior-like. Now let's do the reverse warrior. This hand goes here, and then we do the side bend. Keep your front knee over your ankle. Looking up, or straight at me, looking out, or straight down toward your back foot. And then we're coming up and out of that. Let's turn one more time. This foot turns in, this foot turns out. Let's start back with warrior one. So hands in front of the heart. This will help guide our chest around. Bend your front knee. Keep your back heel pushing away from you. Lift your chest. Keep your back knee as straight as you can. Now what if we add some goalpost arms here? Now before we go to the other side, straighten up your front leg. Turn your pelvis and your chest toward me. Sink into your front knee. And then we take the arms out. Warrior two. And then the reverse warrior. Take your hand on your hip and reach up and over into a big side bend, as big as you can make it. That's what yoga really is. It's about celebrating what our bodies can do and not forcing them to do things that we can't do. So celebrate your body right now in this reverse warrior. And then let's come up and we'll turn. Turn this foot in, this foot turns out. Bending, starting back with warrior one, hands, turning. And then maybe we do the goalpost arms, or maybe we take the arms further up into a V. Shoulders are down. And then we're coming up, turning the navel and the heart this way, leveling out the pelvis, sinking down, bring the arms, warrior two. Make sure that you drop your tailbone down if you feel like your front ribs are sticking out. And then the reverse warrior, reaching up and over, keeping the front knee aligned with the ankle. Work hard, but celebrate that your body can do this. So it's important not to overdo. Almost finished with this part. and then we come up. And then we walk the feet in a little bit closer together. And then we're standing with our feet underneath our hip joints, hands together in front of the heart. So this is mountain pose. You need a little bit of space in front of you and behind you. Feel free to close your eyes here if it's comfortable for you. Make sure that your pelvis is level from front to back, from right to left. And of course, ears, shoulders, hips, ankles, all in one line. Now open your eyes if they were closed. Place your hands on your hip joints. Now watch before you go. Take your right leg back, and we're going to be very rigid here. Rigid, so soften your standing leg, but be rigid. Your right leg goes up. You can join me now. And your torso goes forward. This is warrior 3. Keep the rigidity from your toes through the crown of your head. And then tip back up. Keep your concentration. Switch legs. Left leg back. Rigidity, the good kind, the kind that makes us stable and stronger. And then tip. And then we tip back up. That was version 1 of Warrior 3. Version 2 has our arms out to the side. So feel free to join me with that variation if you'd like. Otherwise, stick with the variation number 1 that we just did. Right leg back. Soften your standing leg and tip over. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Try to keep your hips as level as you can to the floor. And then we'll tip back up, join your hands together in front of your heart center, keep your concentration. And let's do the other side. Arms, left leg back, find the rigidity that'll keep you in alignment. And here we go. Squeeze the shoulder blades gently toward your spine. Keep your mind on your breath. And then let's tip back up. Stay in mountain pose here for just a moment. All right, now arms can go forward, thumbs up, right leg back. This is more challenging, so only go here if you need more challenge. And then we'll tip. See if you can keep your shoulders from riding up by your ears. Then let's tip back up and bring the arms down to the sides. Let's do the other side now. Set your shoulder blades into your back, left leg back, find the rigidity that you need. Then let's tip. And then just float here on your breath. And then let's tip back up. If you start to lose your balance, remember you can always bring your foot down. Well, that's what I just had to do. All right, mountain pose. Close your eyes for a moment. Shoulders back and down. All right, and then let your eyes open. Step your feet apart just a little bit. Let's twist, and we'll look over one shoulder. Stay here for a moment and breathe. And then we'll turn the other way. Stay here. And then we'll come back to the center. Step your feet in, roll your shoulders. So how do you feel? Do you feel like a warrior? You should. We just did a whole warrior series here. We repeated some of them multiple times. So hopefully you feel like you challenged your strength, your mobility, your stability, and your balance. Those are all really important things. So as usual, thanks for joining me, but more importantly, thank yourself for being here and taking yourself down a path that's warrior worthy.